Okay, welcome friends to the Spirit Essence Show. I'm Tara Diana, and we have the lovely Lazina, Jody Ann, and Nancy with us. And of course, our special guest is Ricky Avitan. Ricky, we'll introduce you a little bit more in a few minutes. I always like to start off our show by welcoming everyone on Facebook and welcoming everyone here on Zoom. So, hey, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. We are always sitting in the power, waiting to see what comes up to TikTok. See, I've got TikTok on my head, Jody. Haven't done a TikTok in a while, but I've got it on my mind.
You're just itching to do one.
I did for the full moon, a campfire that I filmed in like time delay or stop time or something. Anyway, it's cute.
Okay, well, that was impressive to begin with. I can't do any of that. I have Yadi do it all for me. So good job, sister. Well, I want to just quickly introduce, I see a few new faces on here, so welcome. I want to quickly introduce the lovely ladies of Spirit Essence. So above, Lazina, give a wave.
Hi.
Lazina is our multidimensional channel and healer. She's a fantastic, and she's my business partner in all sorts of different endeavors, but she's just a beautiful soul, and this wouldn't be the same without her. So welcome, Lazina, to our space.
Thank you. It's great to be here today.
Then we have the lovely Jody Ann. She is my witchy poo. She is our coven holder. She is our witch. She is the person who works all the goddess energy for us, in the sense of the elements and all the earth energy and all that self-nurturing, self-love, self-care that her ritual work is beautiful. It's inspiring, and it's heartwarming. So welcome, Jody, and she's my tarot reader.
Yes, and you guys are gonna see me like looking down. I'm gonna just be trying to keep an eye on Facebook and just yeah.
Okay, well, that would be very appreciated. I'm still letting people into the show. So, okay, who else do we have? My beautiful Nancy. Nancy's our animal communicator. She is a wonderful medium. I scooped her up at a psychic fair and said, "Oh, you must come and be in our circle and our group." And she said, "Absolutely, you fit our crazy and wacky fun." And so we're super excited to have you here. And these ladies work in a lot of different ways with me. They are a part of different metaphysical ventures that I do. They are a part of my world in general. So they are a part of my heart. And so it's so much love that comes when we all work together and we're able to do the show. On that note, I want to introduce Ricky. Ricky Avitan is a psychic medium, trance healer, trance medium. She is well versed in trance work. She comes from a beautiful place of harmony when she does her trance, and she's doing a lot of teaching right now in fundamentals of trance mediumship. She's just a beautiful soul, and she's well known, I would say international even, well known in Europe and in England, whatnot, and she has just begun her journey. She's really just begun her journey and come so far so quickly. So teaching, mentoring, that kind of work, it's all on Ricky's plate right now. So Ricky, welcome to our space, Slippy. You can unmute if you'd like, Ricky, and join the conversation.
Hello, this is so great to be here with you. Thank you for the compliments and the kind words. So I just love the work of trance. I love the work with spirit, and most of all, I love the work with people. Because to me, people are spirits. It's not just on the other side, but here. And that's most important, where we connect to one another through our spirits, through our heart, through our energy. And that's where we can uplift and progress and evolve and make changes in each other's life and empower each other with our experiences that we have experienced in our life. Because this is where sharing comes. That's where healing comes. That's where transformation comes. So it is wonderful. Thank you, Tara, for putting this wonderful show together. Yes.
And this show, guys, just so everyone knows, it's all about spiritual chat. It's a fun show with messages, with a bit of a different feel to it. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the purpose of readings, why people get or seek our services. And since all 4 or 5 of us have a different flavor, this will be a great conversation to be had. But usually before we jump right into that, we have a little bit of a discussion about what's been going on with us. I know there was full moons happening and all sorts of stuff. I think we came out of retrograde. I think Jody said we went back into retrograde. Or maybe I misinterpreted that, but we're all over the place with the energy. And I want to talk just a moment about coincidences, or lack thereof coincidences. And today has been a moment, and Lizina will know. Today has been a moment for me like you wouldn't believe, and I kind of want to set it out there. I was thinking about this when another incident happened this afternoon, but last night I made the conscious decision that I was canceling my personal training this morning. I was going to focus on work. I was going to focus on the administration part of this business that I'm super not into, but have to ground myself and do it. And so I did. I canceled the trainer, and I said to myself I was going to walk the dogs, and I was going to come home, and I was going to get right to business. So at 4 o'clock this morning, I hear someone in my family not feeling very well. And by 10 o'clock this morning, I was at emergency. So it is okay. My son's girlfriend is having surgery. So we'll get it all taken care of. But I was just thinking to myself, well, isn't that interesting that I managed to be home? Because I'm pretty sure my 18-year-old son probably wouldn't have known what to do with his 18-year-old girlfriend who was in, extreme pain. So I was there. I was meant to be there. I was meant to cancel the personal trainer. I was meant to apparently not do the work I don't want to do anyway. And it is. So today, I was supposed to go out before we came here. I was supposed to go with Mike and have a quick dinner, get back home and get on here and whatnot. And just as we're about to walk at the door, my daughter comes home, looks at us in the face and says, "Plans changed, Dad. I need you to drive me at 6. So I look at Mike and I say, "Go for dinner tomorrow night." He's like, "Fine." I'm thinking, oh, phew, then I can, get on here. And it turns out my camera didn't work and all sorts of things happen. And what happens? I sit down to just kind of relax at about 5 o'clock. And I get a phone call from a very upset good friend of mine asking me to come and get her right away. And coincidence that Lana came home, changed all our plans. Thoughts on that stuff, you guys, when things like that happen? I mean, today has just been that day. But thoughts about that. Thoughts about coincidences. Thoughts about how things just happen and how that just worked out beautifully. Well, I mean, okay, let's put this into perspective. Having my son's girlfriend have to have surgery is not necessarily beautiful. Having my friend be very upset is not necessarily beautiful, but how it worked out so I could be there for everyone, that was what was beautiful.
That's beautiful.
That's alignment.
That's what I was going to say.
Good
Well,
words.
it's alignment.
Yeah, I agree with Lizina. Divine
that-
intervention on that one for
Yeah.
sure.
They cleared your path.
And then they ruined my camera.
No, because no,
All that
you're gonna
energy
get a
in
new
the room.
I started it out, I shorted it out, and here we are. But coincidence. One of those things people talk about deja vu, we talk about past lives, we talk about, feelings and moments where you're like, you can't shake something. Those are all things that I think are very powerful reminders of the things that we can do. But Ricky said something interesting. She said that, we're spirits. We most definitely are spirits. We are spirits having a human experience. So being able to tap into the realization that coincidences don't necessarily happen, and the fact that we're aware of that, how blessed is that? Really, when you think about it, how blessed is it that I can be able to say, well, look at that. In all my panic as I'm racing from one place to the other, how awesome is that I was able to be guided to be where I needed to be and to make the right decisions to make these things happen.
I think what's important is you listened.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was the most important. That was the most, you could have just said, oh no, I'm going out. But you listened and you allowed for the synchronicity to take place. You're allowed to be there and to be available. But you could have said, oh no, I'm going to go, I gotta go, but you listen and you surrender to that inner knowing, to that inner spirit within, that something within the higher consciousness that knew that you need to stay put. And so you listened. And I think the important part in our in our being is to learn to listen to the unspoken words, to the unspoken vibration, to the unspoken presence. Because when we do, miracle like that happen. And then you are available there to help, not to help that girlfriend, to help that woman, because that's where you come to be of service, for service. And I think that's the most important thing. For me, it's about the Great Spirit, and the Great Spirit, how it uses us when they know that you can be available for someone else. And I think that's the beauty. You have listened. You have listened. That is the beauty, yes.
And I do love that. I do love that it came so easily, though. You know, most times when something would present itself and get in the way of what I'm passionate about, which is the gym, working out, and usually I wouldn't entertain not going. I wouldn't entertain not fulfilling my self-care ritual, right? And there was no hesitation. Same with when Alana walked up and said, Dad, she had no idea we were heading out the door for dinner. Dad, change your plans. I need to go. And I just simply turned around and said, you want to go tomorrow night? He's like, sure. It was that simple. When spirit makes it that easy, or when I allow it to be that easy, that's when you know that you're in your power, that you know that you are standing in your grace and able to say, okay, well, life goes on. We are so busy being human sometimes that we forget that it can be that simplistic. It can be that easy, because we are so versed in living that human life. Any other comments on that?
I do. I have a thought. I was thinking about how so you took a day to yourself, you were out at, you planned that day, and you just easily go into the place where you're taking care of someone you care about in a very positive way, right? What I thought was interesting is when Alana comes home, that I'm trying to find the right words, where spirit knows you're not going to have a big pout if your daughter needs help from her dad. That's not who you are. Right. So I just came to my mind. Isn't it interesting the way that spirit uses what, like, us and our kind of, I don't know how to say it, like our personality or who we are, to shift us and to help zhuzh us to where we need to be.
Yes.
Right. Like for me, one of my best friendships that I have, well, two of my very close friendships, they developed around going paddleboarding. Like I'm always on my paddleboard, right? Like I'm out in the waves, I'm out in the water all the time. And that's where I connected with people that are very important to me, that are part of my little kind of like my little tight group of support. And it's almost like spirit says, well, she's there enough. We'll just put these important people here. She'll find them, plunk, right? With Alana, like, if it was some other thing, you might be like, well, that's not as important as spending time with my spouse, but you're not gonna, you know what I mean? Am I making, does that make sense?
And
the way
absolutely
spirit will use, yeah.
That kind of leads us into, right? That kind of leads us into the topic for tonight. And the topic for tonight is the purpose of having a connection with a metaphysical practitioner, with a medium. And there's so many different types of practitioners. Let's be honest. Let's be really honest here, guys, and talk about the fad of mediumship. Right? Let's talk about how everyone wants to be a medium. Now, in my world, and chime in, guys, in my world, I truly believe that every single person is a psychic and a medium. Everyone is. There is no one that is not capable of tapping into different energy and working. I believe that belief structures, preconceived notions, what you're taught, etc., can get in the way, and shift mind and thought and ideas, etc. But when I started doing this work, I actually didn't know what a medium was. So I'm not going to age. Well, everyone knows how old I am, but you know, when I started doing this work, so let's say 20, 30, 25 years ago, let's just say, let's go with that. Let's make it easy for me. 25 years ago, started doing this work. Mediumship was not super common. It was big in Europe. It was big in Britain. I mean, Britain is the holy grail of mediumship, so to speak. I have issues with that, but anyway, we won't get into it. And everyone was more doing card readings and things like that, and connecting very psychically, very intuitively, which is super important when you're doing any kind of work, whether it's mediumship, whether it's trance healing, whatever it is. Your ability to be tapped into the intuitive nature is hugely important. But the mediumship was just starting to come to popularity, and I hate to use that word in it, but it is an absolute truth. It's become popular. Right? It's become far more popular than saying I'm a card reader, or I am I'm an intuitive or a psychic. Everyone says that they are a medium. Thoughts, ladies?
I think a lot of stuff goes on trend, and you know, when I was growing up, it was really cool to go see a psychic, and you didn't really want to necessarily talk to dead people. You wanted to have them tell you the future, and then the next trend when I grew up was seances. Everybody was going to seances. Next thing you know, let's see what could happen there, and then we went to mediumship. So there seems to have been like a natural sort of transition and switch and change.
So
and
now
astrology too. Astrology goes on and off the hot burner, right?
I
And
love astrology.
astrology seems to stick around a little bit more. The flavor of astrology seems to, maybe this is the word, it seems to appeal to a broader group of people.
well, there's the ones in the newspaper, right? But like getting your chart done, getting all of that, and I want to get my chart done again so bad.
I have an awesome astrologer for you. Awesome.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay.
See, and
Yeah.
astrology does nothing. I have no interest in astrology whatsoever. And again, I always go back to being that lazy medium. But you know, I just let spirit tell me what to do, and I just do what spirit tells me to do. Hence how I channel. Hence how I build, you know, these different platforms. But the mediumship, I know everyone can do it. What are your guys' thoughts about everyone doing it?
I think that I feel that you really need to do your own inner work before you deliver a message. You may be receiving a message to pass on, but you have to remember your integrity. And you got to be, I feel like you also have to be able to feel the energy of the person who you want to deliver the message to, because it's not your message. And to make sure that you're not going to do harm. And I think
that
there's
would be engaging in your intuitive. That's why your intuitive nature and being aware of it and working within that energy and being comfortable with it is so empowering.
Yeah.
A must, right?
I mean,
So-
I want to define for people, just for a moment, maybe not everybody knows the difference between a psychic and a psychic medium. A psychic is someone who reads the aura, the magnetic field, your files within you, and give you the psychic soul to your soul and give you the information. A medium is an individual that is raising their vibration and connecting to the spirit world and bringing messages from loved one, from the spirit world to the person who is there. So it's different work. Now, not all psychic are mediums, but all mediums are psychic. So when you go to see a medium, so a portion of the work will be mediumistically, and a portion of the work will be psychically. And like Lazina says, the integrity of the psychic medium or the psychic or the medium to say, this is coming from me. Not to say, on behalf of the spirit, but this is actually information that's delivered from the person soul, spirits, person self spirit to the person who is sitting with them. So I think it's part of our job as psychic mediums, trance mediums, is to really educate the public. And when the public is educated and informed about what they are receiving, who they're going to see, and so they have more knowledge of how and who to choose if they want to have an intuitive reading, a psychic reading, which is so valuable. It is so valuable. And we have so many people who come to see us for this sort of reading, but then they know if they want to connect to a loved one, then they know I want to go to see a medium to connect to a loved one. And I think it's part of our job and integrity is to really educate the public about what is what, and to present ourselves in a way that is informative and educating to people, so they are making a good informed decision when they're going to see this person or that person. Yeah, for it helps them to know. And I always ask my clients, why are you here? Because I do a lot of different modalities. So I say, why did you come to see me? This and that. So together we're working through, okay, let's go. You know what? I'm not the right person for you, but I know a person who will be the right person for you. And I think we have to have the strength and the knowing when we work with that client, or when it's something that the client is seeking that we don't have or I don't have, and I can refer them to somebody else. Because our work is all about collaboration with our practitioners, because we don't own anybody. And I think the more we work with other people, the more we know other practitioners, the more benefit and empowering is for the individual. And so that is important, I think.
I like that. And I think that ties into what Lazine is saying too, where you have to have done your own work. If you're going to come out and work for people for their highest and best good, there's a lot of self-work that has to be done, right? Understanding who you are, what your gifts are, valuing them, and then also knowing that we are not like the be all and end all. Like I'm just the instrument, right? Like I'm not the song. So to let everyone, you know, and just like you say, Ricky, like I love Lizina's healing. I'm not going to attempt to do that for a client. When I have a client who needs healing, I send them her way, right?
Thank you.
Because that's
right.
I love her, one, and I respect her work, two. And yeah, it's feeling out. I like how you said how you ask your clients why they're here to help guide you in those readings. I always just assume or trust maybe that if you end up at my table, you're in the right place.
Yes.
That the right readings come to me, that my beacon shines for those needing the work I do. And I go back and forth. I never know what to call myself. That's why I've sat on witch, because it just works, right? Because I can do mediumship, but I am so passionate about the tarot. I do mediumship with them as a tool. I can read psychically. I read psychically for a long, long time until I really started working on my gifts and developing them. And I think too, it's fun to say, like, I do believe everyone has these gifts. We have an innate ability to connect with spirit, with our highest self, with the center of love in the universe. But not everyone needs to sit down and do it on their Saturdays for every client that walks through the door. Right? There's a lot that each individual can do for their own healing and their own connection. And I love how fatty all the oracle cards and all the tarot cards and all this different stuff is, because I think it's really going to open people up to healing themselves, right? Like even just as a meditation, picking up a card and looking at those beautiful art and the meditation of it all, you know, and getting it quiet and in tune with yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I agree. I think it's really important that we are as open and honest about what we are capable of in the moment, and what we are always growing and developing, and what more that we can become. And I think that is a huge thing in, saying I'm a psychic or I'm a medium. I believe that we are all, as you said, and I've said it previously, that we are all fully capable of doing either or. And a lot of people call themselves psychic mediums, but a lot of psychics don't even realize they're using their guides and their helpers to do the work that they're doing. So
I'm going to interrupt you. A lot of parents don't realize they're using innate psychic ability to figure out their kid is hungry or wet or just needs to be picked up, because those little squawks, they don't speak. Right?
Yeah.
and people who take care of animals and pets, anyone who's in touch with anyone who's nonverbal, I don't even know if they realize how much they're using their innate ability to communicate with another being.
Yep.
Sorry.
I'm using my ability right now to try to tell my little dog Cookie to be quiet, because everyone keeps sending me messages. Are you playing with something? I think it's the dog in the background everyone's hearing. I'm like, I'm not playing with anything. So it's Cookie, I think you guys are hearing. She's way upstairs in the background.
Is she snoring?
No, she's barking at the top of the stairs. She wants to come down.
Oh,
No, we can't hear barking.
Well, she's way far away, so you're probably hearing the scratching. It sounds like scratching because it's on my phone.
it's all good. It's all good.
It has to be. I don't have a choice, guys.
It is what it is.
It's working today, my friends.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about why people come for our services, though. We talked about Jody. I love the way you said that. I'm a beacon. If you're sitting in front of me, it's because you've chosen me for a reason. There's something I have to offer you. This, I believe wholeheartedly, sister. I believe that people landed, because there's people that have landed in front of me that I've been sitting here with a smile on my face going, God, it's tell me what the purpose of this is, because I'm not feeling it. So show me why. But I believe that there's a reason that this individual is sitting in front of me. I know with everything I have, because any kind of work you do metaphysically, you have to believe in what you're doing. You have to believe so that you can be that pure channel, that pure vessel, right? You have to believe in it. So if someone is sitting in front of me and I'm at a human level, I'm like, I'm not fathoming what the heck this is all about. I trust spiritually that there is a reason that I can provide something for this individual. And I will
Their
go
guides.
What's that?
I was going to say their guides and my guides are smarter than my humanness.
Yep. I concur. Higher vibrational beings outrank the humanists, straight up. Doesn't matter. That's why as mediums we have to raise our vibration, right? And they kind of have to come down a bit. They kind of have to match us at some point, right?
Isn't that where the word medium comes from? Like we're in the middle.
Yep, that's the mediumship.
Going to the middle, right?
Right.
Yeah. We're in between the as above, so below.
Yeah.
Right.
So why,
between.
Ricky, would someone come to you for trance? What would be the purpose of someone coming to you for trance? Now, trance healing is different than trance mediumship is different than just mediumship. It is not necessarily bringing a loved one through. I don't know many people that practice trance loved ones. I certainly do not allow loved ones to come in and work through trance. I do higher vibrational beings through trance. But Ricky, tell us why someone would come and say to you, Ricky, I want to get a trance mediumship session with you. Oh, that's a lot of S's there. Trance mediumship session with you. Why should I get one, Ricky?
What is trance medium? Trance medium is different than mediumship. Being a teacher, I love teaching, so I'm very passionate. So trance is bringing, I have very close spirit friends who are working with me, spirit team. So they are blending with the energy, with my mind, their etheric body, my etheric body, and they come forward. Why would you want to speak or sit with my spirit friends? For instance, there is a physical ailment. So you would come to see, I've had a car accident, a broken shoulder. I feel really anxious. I feel I have depression. So anything on that level. When I move into trance, we set up the intention. So I have a conversation in a private sitting with a person who coming to see for trance, and we identify what is it. But I always say, I'm a channel, I'm an instrument, and we set up our intention, and then the spirit knows what you need. And so then when we move into the trance, they can get trance guidance, where the spirit friends will guide them through an issue. Let's say a person comes in and feeling really, really anxious, extremely anxious. And I believe that there is a psychiatrist who's working with me, and they'll take them to the originality, the root cause of that. And it can be all the way up, all the way into the womb, all the way to the womb. And they walk them through of what have happened. And then they come in and they would empowerment that person to come up, and they put them in a situation and so on. So really a tremendous amount of healing that's coming through that with guidance, understanding, but they always use the person innate healing ability that is already there to be able to move forward with what they need. Another piece is the trance communication. I don't do it very often, only if my spirit are really having a need for the loved one to come in, because it's very hard on my physical body when that takes place. So communication, a loved one blend and speak to the person directly. And there is a certain situation that I would do it, but not regularly. There is a spiritual assessment, is mostly for people who are working in the spirit world, who wanted to know, where is my direction? You know, what am I supposed to do? What is my next step? And there is a soul journey where I move into a light state of trance and just make your life all like a beautiful story. And so you're listening to that story of your life, and there is an awareness. Maybe there is a file that you haven't accessed or are not aware. And through the soul journey, right from birth all the way to the moment that you come to see me, and you say, oh my God, I get it. So when you listen to your own story, it's really beautiful. And so I teach all of those tools in my trance classes that run through Spirit Essence. So coming to see me for trance mediumship, it's an umbrella. And under this umbrella, you can come to see for trance healing. Within the trance healing, physical healing, spiritual healing, mental healing, and guidance, and so on and so forth. You can come to see me for a soul journey. You can come to see me for spiritual assessment. You can come to see me for direction. And so the main idea that we having a short conversation, and then my spirit friends coming in, and they are the one who are talking to you directly. And it is an incredible miracle, an absolute miracle. When you sit there, I say everybody can change. I tell the student always, everybody can change their face and fake their voice and everything is good, but you can't fake the presence. You simply can't. Even a person who have never been to a trance, most people haven't, and a person who never been to a medium, like today I had a client, she says, oh my God, I felt that. I felt that. Never been to a trance medium or any of it. I felt that. And that is the piece, because you feel you imbued with heaven. Heaven came down to earth and you've been touched with heaven. And for me, that is the miracle, is to bring that seed that Jody said, the seed that is already innate within you of love, of God, of creation, of creativity, and bring back to life. Because with all our life, we are being so difficult, particularly this time, right? And so when you touch by spirit, your vibration raises up automatically. And when that vibration raises up automatically, you feel different. So most people will say, I feel so peaceful. I feel like today this lady says, I feel like I had a tin hat around my head and it's just being lifted off. And so you would come to see me for a trance. I do many different modalities. So I need to identify when you book an appointment, what you're booking it for. But the trance, I've been going into trance probably since birth. I am aware that I've been going into natural trance since a child. I came from Israel from a very, very traumatic background, war. At 3 years old, it was a 6-day war where I was in a bomb shelter. And so then to escape the trauma, I built a house on a tree and I would sit there and I literally would see heavenly being all around and we had a conversation, but we never said anything about it because you go to the mental institute, if you dare to say anything. Only in the recent years, when this really began to surface, and I began to understand that the experience I've had all along are not an imagination, but a truth of those beautiful beings who are with us, with each and every one of us. And all we need is to shift our awareness from the material world into the spirit, into those people, those beings who are there with us. I wouldn't say always because they have their own life. I went out last week. I wanted to go to a rally. There was a rally in Vancouver a couple of weeks ago, and Spirit says, don't go. I said, I want to go. I was like a kid. And they said, don't go. I said, I'm going. Well, I did go. I couldn't find parking spot anywhere around the rally. So I parked in, there is West End Bay, which is a very small street. I parked the car and I just said, I'm just going to go for a walk. It was so cold, 15 minutes. I went back to my car and somebody banged it. And it was parked in a space that you could imagine. It was just a quiet space. Someone, and I told Spirit, you could have told me that and saved me $300 deductible. But I didn't listen. Like Tara listened, I didn't listen. Yes, so they keep telling me you are stubborn. You have to change the stubbornness and you have to trust. And it's coming because as Lazina says, we have to change as individual to connect to our inner being, to connect to our inner power that is there with each and every one of you. No one is excluded. God, I always say God didn't take his flashlight and shine it on this one and this one now. This one no. He shined it on all of us because we are all equal. We are all his children. And we just come into our inner world to really find that power within us so we can shine that beacon, like Lazina and Jody said, we can shine our beacon into the world. So today, I may touch you at this very moment. And when you touch somebody else, and that somebody else touched somebody else, and that's the ripple effect where we all connected as a collective community of love. So why would you come to see me for trance? For many different reasons, and some that I have talked about. I also do mediumship. I also do hypnotherapy, very selective with hypnosis, but the main bulk of my work is mediumistic and trance medium, which I absolutely love because I see the transformation of people in front of my eyes.
Yes.
Transformation in front of my eyes. And when they leave, I say, thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you. Because when you touch somebody else, when you touch your brother and sister with that energy, you cannot not be touched by that energy. When you see someone else's, of your collective human community, or animal community, or tree community, plant community, doesn't matter, that is being touched and transformed, you just cannot be helped but to say, thank you, thank you, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be with that person in that person's journey for that moment in their lifetime. I may never see them again. I may never hear them again, from them again. But that moment, we have been together for that moment that we needed to connect. And that is the collectiveness. That is where we change together, one step at a time. Thank you.
Holy smoke, sister.
I was just about to say the same, but it just came out.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's an excellent answer to my question, lady. Yeah. Okay,
Can I just say something else, Tara? I forgot to mention the trance classes. So we just finished our fundamental of trance, and now we have a trance class, Deepen Your Trance, that's coming It's March 5 and March 13. And this will be the last beginner class. And then we move into our next steps, which is more the intermediate. And intermediate doesn't mean that you're speaking in trance and so forth, but you have the foundation, the good understanding, the strong understanding of what trance is, because we will not review in the further down classes, we will not review the fundamental of it. So if you want to join the deep in the class, it'll be a wonderful opportunity to experience the presence, because trance is not just about what you get, but it's also bring your own intuition. It teaches you to sit in the power and to connect to your superconscious. And your superconscious is the gateway to the spirit world, to those who are with you. So you're connecting. So that's wonderful. Yes.
I believe it's the 5th and the 12th. Isn't it the first 2 Saturdays?
5 and 13.
Oh, so it's Saturday the 5th and Sunday the 13th?
I believe so, yes.
Oh, we'll have to double check it, or you can check out the website. Now, I do want to jump in here very quickly and ask Nancy to just describe a little bit about communicating with animals. I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize that they can do. Both their fur babies that have crossed the Rainbow Bridge, as well as the fur babies that are here with us now. And if anyone was watching me and my funny faces I was making, my sweet, sweet husband came home, flung open my healing room door, and let all 3 dogs run into our room, and they all started to fight in my curtain. So that's my facial expressions. That was my like, oh, this is so nice. Thank you so much. And he watched my face, and he still left and shut the door. so there, you guys. That's my facial expressions while poor Ricky was talking. Is I had 3 dogs trying to eat each other over here. Nancy, would you please just describe a little bit? I know we're going to go into readings in a second, but I want to hear your voice.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, animal communication, and I'll be doing a class in April around this, is very different. It's one of those things where when I connect in mediumship, and I'm not as eloquently spoken as some of these other lovely ladies. I call myself the telephone. I'm the telephone. I am the connection to the other side. When I raise my vibration, I'm raising up and up and up and up, and I'm talking to your guides. I'm talking to your loved ones. I'm talking to all of that. When I communicate with your animals, my energy drops. It totally changes. I chill out. I bring it down. I take it to a different level, because our loved ones that are in, whether feathered or 4 feet or what it is, has a very different energy because they're very earthbound. And so it's a different level of energy communication that I do with them versus when I'm talking to animals in spirit or talking to animal medicine that comes through for you. So it's just a different vibration. It's the same thing we all started talking about, but instead of say going here, I may be going here or I'm going here. So there's different ways of sort of communicating and talking and connecting with that energy. And it's still the same thing. You're trusting, you're listening. Do I have time for a quick story?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So and this is kind of a funny story, because the first time I realized I could talk to critters, I was actually in a grocery store and I heard, and this is where my husband's like, "You're gonna tell people this because they're gonna think you're nuts." And I'm like, "No, but I'm really not. I did hear this little critter talk to me." And I was in a grocery store by myself, all by myself, and I heard, hey, can you help a guy out? And I was like taking an order at the time. My muggle job was working in wholesale natural foods, and so I'm taking an order, and I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I look around, and I'm like, there's nobody here. And I went, hey, down here. And I looked down, and there's a little salamander on the floor, and he's got dust on all his little feet. And I went, you've got to be kidding me. Did this thing just talk to me? And I was blown away. And I was like, did you just talk to me? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, he's like, can you help a guy out? I'm like, yeah, I can help a guy out. And I leaned down, I put my hand, and he crawled into my hand. And it was one of those big open farm groceries, like where it's a barn and the garage doors go up, and they were digging the water ditches around it. So he had been displaced, and he ended up in the grocery store under one of the little sort of shelf. So he crawled on my hand, and I was like, okay, this is unique and this is interesting. And when would this ever? I had to trust. There's a salamander who crawled on my hand and he talked to me, and this is the most bizarre experience of my life. So I go to walk out of the grocery store, and this lady walks in, and she's an older lady, and she goes, "Oh my God, what is that?" And I said, "Well, it's a salamander." And she was like, "Oh, get it out." And she was like, and I was like, "Oh." And I said, "Let's just get you over to the grass." And so I walked to the grass, and he goes, "Gosh, what's her problem?" And I was like, "Right." And so I leaned down and I put him in the grass, and I'm like, "The water's that way, buddy." And he goes, "Thanks." And off he went. And I went, if I didn't trust her, if I didn't listen, and like nobody else other than this lady, I should have like got her to witness and write something down. But since then, it's a different connection, right? And you have to very much just be willing to
Trust it.
trust.
That is the key. So Nancy brings up a very valid point, friends. If you don't trust the work that you're doing, how can you do the work?
Yeah.
Right? If you don't believe 100% that you are capable to communicate with spirits on the other side, with higher dimensional beings, with animals. I mean, and Elaine just said, wow, that's a whole nother level. If
My husband
everyone
would say a whole other level of crazy.
well, that's the thing though. We are taught to believe that we don't have that
Yeah.
that innate ability, and we only use what 9% of our brain. So if we can really attune, just really tune into that beautiful true vibrational energy, the one that gets masked by our human selves, because we have to have this human experience. If we can really tune into that energy, if everyone could do that, this would be a very, very, very different world. And the energy that's happening right now is exceptionally toxic.
Yeah.
The energy that's flowing through everything right now, and we can only do so much. As light workers, we can only do so much. So what's going to happen? I'm going to be a fortune teller right now. I don't believe in fortune telling, but I'm going to be one.
I want the lottery numbers.
My husband asked me that when he realized I was a medium. That man asked me every morning for like 10 years. Do you have the numbers yet? What kind of medium are you that you don't have the numbers to the lotto? I said, if every medium got the numbers to the lotto, we'd all win $1.
Right? You should have said, "I'm your lotto. I am the
I
jackpot."
should have said that.
Come on.
That's your new line. That's your new line.
Jackpot.
He stopped saying that years ago, my friend. He gave up on that whole thing. But if you know, we can only do so much as light workers. We can only do so much. So why should people come and get a reading for us? How do you pick a reader? You go by your gut.
Yes.
You go by your gut. If someone recommends someone, you got to take a moment and connect with that person, and just be like, hey, I'm looking for a reading. You came recommended, and then be like, yeah, no, this is good. I can feel her. I can feel her or him, whatever. Right? Trust, because not every reader is meant for you, and you're not meant for every reader. And a reader, practitioner, facilitator, whatever you want to call them, has every right to be able to say, not today, friend. Not today. You're not my flavor. No, don't say that to anyone. Don't say you're not my flavor. but do you understand what I'm saying? To be of service doesn't mean that we have to be stepped on or stepped all over. So if someone is coming into your space, and like Jody said, there's a reason they're there. Ever thought that maybe you're declining is the reason that they're there? To hear you say,
I'm going to go with where we were at the beginning. If you are in your alignment, baby, you'll know. You'll know if that is the energy that you need to say, I'm sorry, I'm super booked for today. Or if that's the energy that is the beacon, like I don't know, there's like this magnetic thing, like sometimes you can feel it when you're at the psychic fair, when you're sitting at your table and you're just like doing your thing, and then your like little ant feelers go up and it's like a little magnet thing. You're like, ooh, yeah, someone here just came for me. I can feel it.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's how my brain works. Yeah. And if
Yeah.
they're looking around, yeah, I think, you know what? I think I just realized in this moment, if it feels sticky and yucky, I probably put up a little no thank you psychically.
A little sign, not open for business today. And that's fair. Can I say that? It's fair.
Thanks, babe.
Dealing
was
with that
gonna-
today.
I was going to say something else when you were talking about all the energy flying around in the world right now. I was just thinking, like, it is tough right now. It's hard to be around right now. And I know everyone listening is intuitive and in touch. And so sometimes we get a little shaken by some of the currents going on. I know I just took off to the woods and the beach for like a week to deal with it all, to not deal with it all and get some good water magic going on. But sometimes the best thing we can do, because we can't change anybody else, is to just be as much in that loving power, that loving presence in the spaces we are in and in our homes and with our loved ones, because then we become part of that counterbalance for everything else without stopping, like just being in a state of loving compassion and just being in a state of alignment and just being in that higher vibration. We're helping tip the whole scales of the world back to normal. That's what I think anyway. Sometimes I think it's all the Tibetan monks sitting there sweeping their beautiful little sweeping every morning that keeps us all from exploding, right?
I think
Well,
everyone.
that story, there was that story. It's so interesting, Jody. I think you and I are totally connecting today. Today there was this story.
I'm so glad. I love it when
it's like
we
incredible.
vibe
I
like
was
this.
thinking about exactly this morning, and I just as I'm sitting there, and that idea came that a monk went to a lay person went to a monk, and he says, "I want to know everything. I want to go out to go through the wall, and teach me everything immediately." So the lama, the high level person, gave him the broom, and he says, "Sweep."
Yeah.
1 year, 2 year, 3 years, sweep. And he kept on sweeping. And then a couple years down the road, he says, "Now I understand."
Yeah.
It takes time. It takes time to progress. It takes time to evolve. It takes time to raise the vibration. It takes time to understand. It takes time to connect. It takes time to co-create. But the main thing is the evolvement, the progression. And even when we feel sometimes, we use the word stuck. There's no stuckness. There's evaluation. It's time for reflection. It's time for looking back so we can move forward. So that's sweeping. It's so incredible. We're just thinking about this morning. And it's eventually he realized, after years and years of sweeping the same movement, that he could not attain anything in a flash, that he needed to do the work, that he needed to clean up, that he needed to purify his own mind, body, and spirit. And that's progression. I can't do it for you. When you go to see a practitioner, or whichever practitioner, it doesn't matter, they just give you the tools. If I tell you go to Iran, go to Iran today, I'll give you all the road, the map, how to tell which plane to take. I can't go to Iran for you. You got to go there. You got to purchase the ticket, go on the plane, find where it is and then you go there, because you got to do the work. We as practitioners have the tools, the guidance, the process, but we cannot do the work for you. But the main thing is you have the courage to knock on the door and to say, "I am ready. I desire to change. I am motivated to be somewhere else." And that motivation, that desire the door that you knocked on will open that door. So you may go to this practitioner and that practitioner and this practitioner, and all these different modalities is to come in to really help you shape your ideas, your concept, to transform your own being. It is not just one practitioner. There's all these modalities. There's so many of them, mind, body, and spirit, that are there for us to be able to really change. So why was I saying that? Because the tools, we have Master Jim Bodhi's always say, the doctor is within you. The healer lies within you. So you are the healer of self. Don't doubt that, because love is healing. So you are the healer. But once you knock on the door, open the door, and then walk. When you feel you stop, you're not stopping, you're just reflecting, you're evaluating, you're thinking, you're doing, you're moving, because within the stopping, it gives you that energy to build up that energy so you can move forward. So even when we feel we're stuck, even when we feel we have no ability to take the paint and to start brushing, but no, you do, because that is the time for you. And then afterwards, you can just feel like you're running forward. Someone put this note about crystals, and I used to work with crystals. I don't. I just go directly to source. But lots of people work with crystals, I believe. But I used to. I gave all my crystals to my clients when they used to come. Yes, take the crystal, take it home. But so I have only a few crystals left, but it's beautiful. Thank you.
Well, thank you very, very much, everyone. We are just about out of time, so we are going to just mention a few things quickly. One is that Lizina has a class coming up. Lizina, date, time, and name of the class.
February 26th at 6 p.m. Hello, it's your body. It's about the it's about the frequency of your body, your organs, your bones, your blood, how you yourself are a multidimensional being, and how to communicate with this being that you are. It's going to be a lot of fun, and yes, it's on February the 26th at 6 p.m. You can sign up at Spirit Essence by TaraDiana.com.
.com. Ricky's got her classes coming up on March 5th and 13th. Again, you can go to the website and check it out. Lizina and I will be live. Thank the great goddess. We will be live in person at Serendipities in Steveston. We have a 3 p.m. sitting and a 7 p.m. sitting this Saturday. So if anyone's interested, please go to the website and pop out there. It's going to be a very, very fun 2 different sessions, both doing the same work, but you have a choice of afternoon or evening. And we're going to leave that for right now. That's what's going on. I know Jody has a class coming up at the end of March. There's lots of great stuff happening. We're going to do a celebration circle for spring. Mediumship 101 is happening at the end of February. So anyone that's interested in starting to really look at their mediumship, before you can do a lot of stuff, you need to know the fundamentals of mediumship. Yes. So etiquette involved, etc., etc. I'll be teaching that. So just go to the page. It's easier to just go to the website than me to spout out everything. So again, that is www.spiritessencebytaradiana.com. I want to thank everyone in Facebook land for joining us. Jody for facilitating that for us. And
yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. To the lovely Lizina and Nancy and Jody, my boos, my favorite peeps. Thank you so much for tonight and working with me. And a special thank you to Ricky for joining us and speaking your truths, telling us a little bit about yourself and about what's going on and your perspective of things. And of course, to the Zoom people who take the time to pop on here and feed our souls. We appreciate all of you. And next one is a special one on March 1st. That's a Tuesday. And we'll have Monique with us. She's a longtime practitioner. She's Indigenous, and we will be working with her energy. Yeah, so join us again. Talk to you soon, guys. Take care. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.